be your MC today. Thank you very much for joining us. We've got some SpaceXers here, so you'll see them with their lanyards or their shirts. Feel free to ask them any questions. We have a special event here today where the SpaceX CEO and Chief Designer, Mr. Elon Musk, is here. He's going to say a few words, followed by the CTO of SES, our customer for the launch tomorrow, Mr. Martin Halliwell. So welcome again. Very happy to have you here. A lot of exciting events today, this evening, and obviously the launch tomorrow. So turn it over to Elon.
All right, so I'll just make some brief introductory comments. This launch is obviously very important to the future of SpaceX because it's our first geostationary launch, and we're very excited and proud to be launching the SES satellite to actually an altitude above geosynchronous orbit. It's going to 50,000 mile altitude or 80,000 kilometers, and which is above the geosynchronous altitude of around 36,000 kilometers. And that's in order to make it easier for the satellite to change the plane of its orbit to equatorial. So it reduces the delta velocity requirement on the satellite and thus gives the satellite a longer life on orbit. We've had the first launch of the new design of Falcon 9, and that launch all worked quite well, with one exception being the restart of the upper stage. And we analyzed what happened there with that restart. And unfortunately, I should point out, on the prior mission, a restart was not necessary for inserting the satellites into orbit. So we always knew there was some risk associated with the restart, so we made sure that on the first mission, a restart was not necessary for orbit insertion. In this case, a restart is necessary for orbit insertion. So there is a greater bar of difficulty for this mission, and although we've proven that we can insert, at least initially, into orbit, there's still the potential, since it's a new rocket, for something to go wrong. Even with rockets that have flown for a long time and that are considered quite reliable, such as the Russian Soyuz, there have been, I believe, 4 failures in the last few years of the Proton, which is a good rocket. So with any orbital launch, because the passing grade is 100%, you can't issue a recall or patch or software patch or something. It's all or nothing. There's always some risk associated with the flight not working. So we're very appreciative that SES would place the bet on SpaceX here. And the one thing I can say with certainty is that we've done everything we could possibly think of to maximize the probability of success for the mission. Just at our launch site earlier today, meeting with our team and just going over, are there any concerns at all? And the policy at SpaceX is right up until the launch takes place. And if anyone has any unresolved concerns, they can email me directly, and we'll put a hold on the launch and try to resolve whatever that issue might be. And I think the most important thing is that at the time of launch, that we know that we've done everything we could think of to maximize the likelihood of success. I should also point out one last thing, which is that on this mission, we will not be reserving enough propellant on the first stage to land, to attempt an ocean landing. And this was an item of some debate, and when I talked to Martin actually did give us permission to reserve enough propellant on the first stage. So I'd like to thank you very much for that. So we really have we couldn't ask for a better customer here. But in the end, even though the 3 sigma likelihood of orbit insertion still showed positive margin, we thought, well, we didn't want to take a chance. If we wanted to know that we'd done everything we possibly could to ensure that our customer's satellite reached orbit. So in the end, we decided to not reserve propellant for landing or an attempted landing, so there won't be any chance of recovery. We're going to use this mission to gather data on atmospheric re-entry of the rocket booster stage and feed that information into our plans for future launches. and go from there. But I do want to thank SES nonetheless for having given us permission to do so. Thank you anyway. All right. So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Thanks, Elon. I was going to talk about the mission, but I mean, Elon's talked about the mission, so let me talk a little bit about the satellite and maybe a little bit about SES. A lot of you SpaceX folks probably don't know too much about SES and this particular mission itself for SES-8. This satellite is going to move to 95 degrees east. It's an extremely important satellite for us. This is a big growth market for us. It has 2 beams. It's going to be basically beaming direct-to-home television to the Indian market, and also DTH support and cable support and television support, etc., into China, Vietnam, etc., etc. We chose SpaceX basically, and we chose to be the first commercial user of SpaceX for a certain reason. We know as we go forward into these various different growth markets that it's absolutely critical that we have a cost-effective and efficient way to get to orbit. And that's really what SpaceX has brought us. We did this in 1996, some of you will remember. We were the first people to fly commercial on Proton. And here we are again, and tomorrow we're going to do the same thing again, and we're going to do it with SpaceX. We believe that we've retired all the risk. We've looked at the first stage lights up okay, works perfectly. We've looked at the second stage, Elon mentioned some issues we have with the second stage reignition. We've looked at that and we're comfortable with that. We've worked extremely closely with the SpaceX team, and we'd like to thank them for the openness and the camaraderie that they've shown us during this entire process, and it's been quite extraordinary, quite honestly. So very different from working with some of the other launch vehicle providers. So thank you very much for that. We're extremely excited. We are absolutely confident this is going to be successful, and this is going to basically not only lay the foundations for the future of commercial satellite spaceflight, but for us, from an SES point of view, it opens the opportunity for us to really start moving into our growth markets.